Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. 1 hour of commercial-free podcasting starts now. Enjoy the show.
Hit it, Sean.
All right. Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. We are here with the usual crew and special guest Geek Mill, also known as Jeff. Jeff is the host of the Fantasy Futurist podcast and a super active member in the fantasy football community. Welcome to the show, Jeff. Appreciate you making some time to come on today. Love to see it. Today we will get to know Jeff a bit, and then we will break down the Cincinnati Bengals and Jeff's Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's get right into it, Jeff. Tell us a bit about the Fantasy Futurist podcast and what it means to be a futurist.
Oh, man. Well, first, thank you all for having me on today. I really appreciate it. Sean and T-God, you guys were on the podcast last season. I appreciate that, too. It's just been much love, and I'm finally glad I can, slide through here and just, talk some football with you guys. So, but the Fantasy Futurist podcast for me, just really kind of started as it is for everybody. It's a big hobby, and it was a hobby of mine, and again, turned into a passion of mine, fantasy football. And the podcast, I was just kind of on a whim thinking, I'm ingrained in this community. I'm becoming more active. Might as well try this on a whim and see how it goes. So put out a season last year, about 13 or so episodes. It's harder than it looks. And it was fun. I mean, it was just fun getting to know different folks, and the welcoming aspect of majority of the community has been fantastic. So, but yeah, on a whim started the podcast, and it was kind of post a car accident that I had in 2020 that I was still recovering from, but it served as a little bit of a kind of a recovery aspect for me, and some trauma therapy for me to just put myself out there and try different things, write scripts, meet different folks in the community, and I mean just talk about football, man. I mean just the love for it. So now it's a community. We have a Discord. We're focused on engaging and recruiting other futurists. We're not quite a cult type situation, but we just like to be a collective of folks that enjoy football, enjoy fantasy football, really try to win our leagues. So that's what we do in our Discord a lot, is just talk a lot about trades and different news that's going on. And it's expanding now into a little bit of a baseball, and some of the members have started another kind of community from that with Spit and Seeds. So it's really been awesome to embark on this journey and jump into and use the podcast as my vehicle to show my passion for the hobby. So, and hey, I got to meet you guys. So I mean, double bonus.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If
you haven't checked out his podcast, definitely do that after we finish up here today. And as a member of his Discord, I would definitely recommend joining that as well.
Yeah,
community there.
I don't think there's a fantasy Twitter account that doesn't follow you. I think I get recommended tons of accounts every day that you at least follow or you interact with in some way. So you are probably the most well known.
Oh, well, thanks. I mean, it's just, I just kind of threw myself in there, and the fact that I was actually really welcomed and just invited into different chats and communities and leagues, and getting involved with Scott Fish and Warrior Bowl this last 2 years has been amazing. They're great charitable leagues, and meeting some folks in there has been phenomenal. So we're all, I think, again, we're all collective community. We come together to try to win fantasy football because we love it so much. And I like to kind of give back as much as I've gotten in regards to that love there. So just appreciate it, you guys just following and everything. So
yeah, definitely. So how long have you been playing fantasy football, and how many leagues do you play in?
So this is funny because this will actually tie into the futurist aspect of the podcast. So in 2014, I joined a long-running league for some hometown friends. It was actually a memorial league to our friend's dad, who had passed away, and he was in the league for numerous years. But anyway, just started off just joining the league and just kind of getting to know what fantasy football was about. I think one of my first draft picks, and it just sticks out in my mind because it was just so bad, was Jay Ajayi. And and he was a keeper league too. So I was like, oh, I'll just hang on to him. He's gonna blossom here real soon, but anyway, so yeah, League with Friends, and since then it's just kind of steadily grown. I've just joined different formats. Like I was just in Yahoo for a while, then I did Yahoo and ESPN, then Sleeper came along, MFL now. So just Underdog as well, just trying to jump into different leagues. Yeah. Now. And so, so in that league previously, in that Friends League, I started to actually win a little bit. And a friend of mine was like, man, he was big into like Magic, the card game. So he called me like a future seeker or like a futurist type of card or something like that. Yeah. So during one of our chats, and it was just like, dude, you just, what the hell? You just see this like well ahead of everybody else. And I just kind of thought it was like a fun thing to put in the title. And then I just kind of looked at it as like, that's what we all do. We look at a collection of information and data in the present to make predictions into the future and forecast what we think is going to happen with some of these players. And, I just kind of, obviously the alliteration with the podcast there kind of fit. So I kind of ran with it and put it into the podcast kind of as homage to how I got into fantasy. So now I just did a count right before this stream. I think I'm around 65.
Oh my goodness!
That's come down from. I don't really. It's not, and a majority of all in Sleeper. So I just kind of like coerce them down. And a lot of them are dynasties. So I just kind of like go through each one, and I start to build trends of certain players that through all of them. So it becomes a lot more manageable, especially for dynasty. Now, redraft, I'll have some leagues, a lot of leagues, and I'm joining more that I would like to do like more annually, especially if they have a charitable aspect to them. But 60, and that's down from last year. I think it was about 90 last year when we talked.
Crazy
so
stuff.
I think my brain would explode.
I play in like 10, and it's so many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned my lesson in the hardest way last year. But even now, I'm just kind of like starting like when I get invites or like even if I've seen like there's not a lot of action going on here, I'm just like weeding them out a little bit.
That makes sense.
Because a lot of them are just kind of randoms that I just joined just because I love to play the game and study how other people interact and make trades and play this game too.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into more of a football aspect of this. So do you have a ride or die this year for fantasy? Or in other words, one player you're trying to get in every league, no matter what?
Well, would you imagine out of the 65 leagues, I might have one or two that carry over. So the one I have many that I'm just really excited about. Michael Pittman stands out immediately to me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I am hype for the Matt Ryan to Michael Pittman connection. And so that's one I would say. One I think that's getting slept on a little bit is that could be a ride or die for teams is Ezekiel Elliott. And what this Dallas Cowboys team is going to actually be as a whole, and just not that the Eagles aren't going to do great, okay? I think the offense is going to be phenomenal. But I think the Dallas Cowboys have basically the rule of this division. And if they can come out with Dak and really stake that claim, the defense is phenomenal as well.
Yeah, defense has been pretty solid.
So I think Zeke will be kind of slept on, but I think he could be like a league winner for a lot of people. But I'll say this, I started going through these leagues, I looked at the teams. Rashad Bateman is on pretty much all of these teams. And I don't know if that's just happenstance or how I've drafted, but he's always just kind of been around an area where I've drafted in leagues where I could like forego him and get him on the coming back because so many people are still passing on him in that offense as a whole in the passing aspect. But his value is just so good, and he's the wide receiver one there. He has the talent. It all does depend on Lamar Jackson, but I've put a lot of stake into him, so I think he's going to be, in my belief in what this offense can be and how they're going to translate all these vacated targets. I think they're like in top four teams and vacated targets as a whole. So we know Marquise Brown leaving. I think Rashad Bateman's going to be fantastic. So he's my ride or die.
Love that for sure. We just talked about Rashad Bateman last episode as well, and I think we're all decently high on him. Some of us maybe not as high as others.
Not T-Gods.
Not me, but
I'm a big
prove me
Bateman
wrong.
believer.
I would love for you to prove me wrong.
He will.
Definitely.
Yeah, he'll get his chance. I mean, Mark Andrews will not finish. It will not be another year like that. Although he's just starting off, I don't think he can have another year at that level, in my opinion. But so there's just going to have to be some diversity in his offense. there's not going to be any running game. J.K. Dobbins won't even get there yet until probably late in the season. It seems like with the first 6 weeks, he might start on the pup list. But anyway.
Disrespect to Devin Duvernay.
Oh my God!
No.
Stop.
Oh no. Q, I am a Devin Duvernay truther. I have been since he's gotten to league. And I think he's carved his way into a role really with being a good special teamer. He's made improvements in his game. I love him as a great dynasty stash. Devin Duvernay for sure.
Yeah, Devin Duvernay, definitely an interesting piece this year. But for the opposite of your ride or die, is there any player you're pretty much avoiding in every league this year?
Yeah, this was hard just because I really I gravitate towards a lot of players. But I mean, right now, Kansas City as an offense, I'm just really not high on. So like Travis Kelce and is one of the ones I'm just like in that tight end debacle. How do you go early? What do you do? There's just so many other options there. And I know that I would probably get hounded for this just because who else are you going to target in that offense, of course. But I just, for me, dynasty wise, I'm out. I think last year was my last year of like holding on to Travis Kelce to kind of readily produce, and it paid off. But I'm kind of out on, and just like Kansas City, I have no interest in the running backs at all. That I think that offense is kind of in just like a weird mode. Juju's kind of interesting where his value is, and he might just sneak into there with some like a lot of maybe some end zone play where he has that slot capability. But yeah, Kansas City for me is just I'm not jumping into.
Yeah. I like that Travis Kelce take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like you've been taking notes from Q here.
Oh
He
yeah,
was calling for their downfall all last year, and he was somewhat right, I guess. But
it was tiring for them to go, through that 2.5 seasons, basically 3 seasons of just going hard. So
definitely,
So it's kind of like let's just let them simmer for now and see where they go. And Mahomes has a bright future, of course. So we'll see.
Not as bright as my boy though, Justin Herbert, the best quarterback in the league.
Yes, yes, Q.
He's been on that bandwagon for a while also.
I love it.
One last question before we get into some news as well as the Bengals and the Steelers. What is your hottest take for this upcoming NFL season?
I have one that might not be so hot, and then just a rookie hot take.
Okay.
So I think Micah Parsons is going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Okay.
I don't know how hot that is, though. You know what I mean? Like,
not scorching, but a little bit spicy.
Right? Aaron Donald's still out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the crop is immense. There's a ton of rookie talent with this draft pool, but so I'm bankable. I'm banking cash that in that direction. I think Tyler Algier is going to be the offensive rookie of the year.
All right, there we go.
So let's go with that. Opportunity. The offense and the quarterbacks themselves lean towards like run heavy, similar to maybe what Baltimore is going to try to or has been doing pretty much, because they don't know where that offense is going to be. Kyle Pitts probably might be the most attractive receiving option there, but I think it's just a mishmash of like who's going to take the role there. Cordell Patterson, although I haven't like bought into him too much, but I do appreciate I value what he did last year. I'm thinking that what I saw at BYU with Tyler Algier, I already thought he could come in and be a serviceable backup, but now he has an opportunity to just take it over immensely. He has a durability factor. I think he won't hit that rookie wall as soon as a lot of them do, and I think if they can manage to get into goal line situations, I think that's where he'll really take hold. So Tyler Algier, offensive rookie of the year.
We were pretty split when we talked about the Falcons a couple of weeks ago on Cordell Patterson as a whole. So I was on the side of Algier taking away some carries as well. So I like that take personally. All right, so let's get for sure. Let's get into some big news. As we saw, the Browns traded Baker Mayfield the day after we talked about the Browns.
Yep.
We spoke it into existence.
We definitely did. They finally made this move, sent him to the Panthers. What does this mean for the Browns quarterback situation? And what does this mean for the Panthers as a whole?
Jimmy G to the Browns.
Who?
Jimmy G.
Oh, Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
I don't know if I could see that happening.
All the options are stinky for the Browns. Cooper, I still think that he'll be all right, but Jacoby Brissett, I'm not really trusting him. definitely not starting him or drafting him or anything fantasy relevant though.
Yeah.
No matter who that quarterback was, I wasn't seeing much hope in that Browns offense, regardless, really outside of the running backs.
Yeah. It's pretty much the running backs. Unfortunately for Amari Cooper, the quarterback's probably going to be still undecided until they get closer to the season. And once finally the suspension news or whatever comes out.
Yeah.
So that's just tough for the Browns right now. If it is Brissett, I don't think it's that big of a downgrade from what Baker was going to do. I think it's a little bit of a downgrade, and the offense is going to downgrade a little bit. But as a whole, this team's going to run the ball and try and play good defense. So passing offense isn't going to be too involved. But I do think for the Panthers, if Baker Mayfield wins the starting job, which it is an open competition, I do think it helps DJ Moore a little bit.
Do you?
Not like next level, like DJ Moore is going to go from wide receiver 12 to wide receiver 1. But I do think he might move up a couple spots, get a little bit more volume and a little bit healthier targets from Baker rather than Darnold.
I hope Sam Darnold wins.
Have a better year. Last year, it's like he fell off the face of the earth, and he just wasn't productive at all with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold top 12, Matt?
For the first 6 weeks, he was.
First 3, I think.
For 2 touchdowns every week.
The first couple of weeks, Matt, that was a great take. And then kind of fell off the cliff there.
A top 12 running back.
I couldn't abandon him that soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Baker on the Panthers. I'm definitely excited to see how this quarterback competition shakes out. It's going to be interesting there. I wouldn't be shocked if Matt Rule decides to run a quarterback carousel again and has no idea who to start if Baker comes out week 1 and throws a couple picks. So
yeah, that's a great thought, because that's exactly what we saw last year with, the in and outs. He just doesn't have a grasp of what he wants yet, I don't think, for that offense, and hasn't had the cute quarterback to kind of center around it, So I'm rooting for Baker. This is the best type of Baker, that they're going to get, like chip on my shoulder. I'm coming in to prove point. They have Cleveland like early in the season, I believe, right? Something along there. They're going to be facing
week 1.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Week 1. So come on. I mean, I think he comes and really just wins this out, and they figured what they're going to do with Sam Darnold. For the Browns, though, I actually am interested more so now in like David Njoku and maybe even Harrison Bryant.
Okay.
Especially if Jacoby's, if there's not a lengthy, if there's, suspension, whatever, but Jacoby Brissett can dump it off. And I think that, like you said, they're going to try to play good defense, run the ball, try to play the possession game and dump off to these tight ends. So maybe Njoku a little bit more than Harrison Bryant, obviously, but I would buy a little bit more into David Njoku now. So,
I like that. Definitely would agree with that too. All right, let's move on to the Bengals. We'll start with the Bengals, and then we'll move on to Jeff's Steelers. First question I have for you guys. The reigning Super Bowl runner-ups seem to be running it back with a lot of the same successful pieces from last season. Starting at quarterback, Joe Burrow is currently being drafted as QB 6th, 59th overall. Is that too high for you? Just right? Too low? What do you guys think?
I think it's just right. Am I crazy for that?
I actually have him ranked.
I don't know if I'm
4.
all in on Joe Burrow.
4.
I don't know. I don't know if I could be that high on him.
I think I'd have to move him back a little bit. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought 4, but look at what he has.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously has the weapons.
Matt, I'm just gonna say, if you want your bold take to be right, you need to believe in Burrow.
Yeah, that is true. I think he's frozen.
He's so frozen. I hope he heard me.
He linked himself by his hot take into into that. But yeah, I have him at 3. I have him at 3.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have him at 3. So I'm actually I'm pretty confident in him still. Again, but you're returning all the pieces, plus your O-line is reinforced.
Yeah.
Finally, and you maybe won't have to take a billion sacks, which he didn't. That was helped last year. That's why they got the Super Bowl. But still, that just bolsters that whole entire offense for me. And I think that's like just right to me. Like when you're in a single QB league, and that's just about right for me. If I had to do that. But now I'm a little bit more. Obviously, I want to go get him. But I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I may be a little biased towards the quarterbacks that can run. I have him at 8 personally. So I'm a little bit lower than 6, but I wouldn't look at you crazy if you're taking Joe Burrow at 6 there. I think that's a relatively safe spot for him, especially with like the weapons he has. He's going to put up numbers. It's just a matter of, is he going to be consistent every game?
Mm-hmm. It sounds like to me, I've just heard this debate of like that running aspect, like, so you talked about Lamar Jackson obviously last stream, but and versus like the just slinging, and I've just heard seeing a lot of people more like just going for the quarterbacks that sling it, as opposed to like banking on the fact that Jackson's going to be able, or Jalen Hurts is, or even Prescott's going to run and give them enough value to put them over their edge on that. So I don't know if that's affecting this particularly. Maybe not. That's something I've just noticed as well, just through my drafting and the feel overall in fantasy Twitter.
Yeah. It's like the running quarterbacks have more upside because they have that aspect that they can run, but I kind of feel that way too, where I would just take the guy that can sling it, like the Matt Stafford. I might take him over Lamar Jackson just because he can throw it better than Lamar Jackson on top of having better weapons.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next question. Joe Mixon finished as running back 4 last year. Are you trusting him again as a top 5 running back, or do you think he's closer to RB12 than top 5?
Top 5, Sean. I know you want to hear me say it. I'll just say it. Top 5.
Let's go.
Yes, top 5 for sure. I mean,
like Jeff said, they rejuvenated that offensive line. The offense was already so high powered. It's hard to really stack the box against this offense because they have 3 great wide receivers. So, I mean, there's just all the room in the world for Mixon to do his thing.
Yeah. And I also think P. Ryan is closer to his way out than he is to still stealing some of those third down.
Surely.
Yeah. So I think Mixon's going to be just fine. I'm definitely taking him as a top 5 running back as well.
The amount of touches he was averaging per game was insane. Like he'd reach like 30 carries, close to 30 carries every game, and almost touchdown every game.
For sure. I did mention the Bengals running it back, but they did add a new tight end, Hayden Hurst. Is he going to have any value in this thriving pass?
Don't forget about him.
Hayden Hurst.
Dude, same value as Uzama, where he had like that one random crazy 30-point game, and
and somehow Cass would call it.
I played him that week too. Well, I started him.
Yeah,
he broke the waiver system after that for tight end, literally, because it was just like, what?
Yeah,
no, I'm no thanks.
Yeah, I'm staying away from Hayden Hurst. I don't think he's gonna have much value. I think
bring back Tyler
one-off games.
Tyler.
Yeah, hope he's doing all right. Hope he's healthy.
That was like their last good tight end.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, really.
All right, let's do some cap or no cap. Jeff, first time doing it, but I've definitely seen you do it in the chat for sure. So
it is. Yeah,
think you know how to play. Cap or no cap, Jamar Chase has the potential to be the number 1 wide receiver this season in fantasy.
Easy, no cap.
No cap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no cap. Clean sweep.
Come on now.
Yeah, I think
this
it's
offense is be putting up a lot of yards and a lot of points on the board, and it's going to be mostly through Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
I would agree with that as well. Speaking of T. Higgins, cap or no cap, he's being overdrafted right now as wide receiver 12, 33rd overall.
Yeah, absolute no cap. Why the fuck is he being drafted so high?
That is kind of insane. I didn't think
insanely high
at 12.
I have him at 13, so I think it's cap.
What
I think
the hell? What am I missing?
I just think like
he's nice.
I just think T is nearly on that same level, and there's games where T is taking over, and there's games where Jamar is going to take over. So I think T is going to be a little bit higher this year for sure. I think he missed a couple games last year that knocked his rank down a bit from what he was actually going to be on pace for. So I don't know. I like T. Higgins a lot this year.
And I think Jamar is going to draw a lot more double teams this year as well. So T. Higgins is going to kind of have free roam on the opposite side of the field to just go against a backup cornerback and just eat him alive.
What are you going to say, T-Guts?
I was going to say he missed 3 games and he finished wide receiver 24. So, I mean, I guess that's close to 12. I mean, but I still think 12's a little too high. 15.
Like Sean said, there's going to be games where it's just like all Jamar.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like his 200-yard, 3 touchdown game that he had or something like that.
There's definitely going to be games where you're like, T. Higgins got me 6 points. This stinks. But I think more often than not, he's going to be involved in this offense in some way, shape, or form. Last cap or no cap, Tyler Boyd is being slept on at his current ADP of wide receiver 51 after finishing wide receiver 31 last season including double-digit points in 6 of his last 7 games.
Boy, no cap.
No cap.
Definitely no cap.
Being slept on completely. He's one of my favorite, late round at that point, even maybe well before, because I just go for him. I think they'll be able to spread this ball a little bit around it, and when Jamar Chase is being doubled, and maybe they're going to have to lean on the run a little bit more in some games, especially in the AFC North. I think Tyler Boyd comes into effect there as that like sporadic deep play. He can run across the middle. He's been reliable, so he's one of my favorite late round flyers, but reliable flyers. I mean, he's going to be able to just sit in a flex spot all season, and you could rely on him. I think so.
I strongly agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that as
He's
well.
proved himself before.
He's
And
just
him
not
being number 3 on the team. I feel like it hurts him a little bit, but like Jeff said, he's going to get his opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think he's just not a sexy name because the guys ahead of him are so talked about, loved.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tyler Boyd's fallen behind in the grand scheme of things. I think he's definitely being slept on for sure. All right, let's do some bold takes for the Bengals. Q, start us off. What do you got?
Kind of a more general take to the division, but I think that every starting running back in this division finishes top 12. Mixon, Chubb, Najee, and JK. Yeah, JK.
Dobbins.
Which will be the only division that has 4 top 12 running backs. But more specifically to the Bengals, I'm targeting Mixon over Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, CMC, and Najee due to the volume that I saw last year. And there's the health concerns with all those guys I just named. So Mixon, I never thought I would be as in love with Mixon as I was previously, but yeah, I like Mixon a lot more than all of those guys this year.
Love to see you guys coming around to the Mixon train. Love.
You're right.
All right. Let it go,
right.
dude.
All right, Matt, what do you got?
Like we were just talking about, this wide receiving core is stacked. So I'm predicting that all 3 of them. Did I cut out?
No,
you're
you just
good.
look funny. You look like you're really happy about this take.
I am, because all 3 receivers are going to finish top 30 this year. This offense is way too high powered. With Mixon in the backfield, I mean, their play action is going to be insane. I don't see any reason why all of these receivers can't have great production this year with Joe Burrow under center.
Yeah, I like it. They were very close last year. I think it could easily happen this year too.
Yep.
All right, Jeff, what do you got for us?
All right, so T-Gods is going to love me a little bit more after the fact when I give my favorite target, because just the love for the running back core and on the Bengals is immense. But I think I have, as we talked about P. Ryan possibly on his way out or playing his way out, I think Chris Evans has a way in here, and I think he'll have more receptions than Joe Mixon.
Juicy.
Okay. That is juicy.
Than Joe Mixon in his RB group. So I think he'll get his chance on 3rd downs to spell him every once in a while. I think that's what they want to try to do. You saw the count of in regards to like carries that he got per game. Evans is ready, and I really liked him coming into this situation. I really thought P. Ryan was really going to come in as the RB2, but yeah, Chris Evans, more receptions.
I like it.
I like
But
that a lot.
with that said, Joe Mixon is also my favorite target on this team. So again, we talked about the reasons, the line, the offense. He's matured into this role really too. Like you could tell in like his play style, like early in his career, especially with like his, the sentiment on him coming out of college. He wasn't quite ready for that responsibility of this role yet. I think similar to him, like David Montgomery's doing that as well. Joe Mixon's fully grown into his role, made it into his own, and he's going to be dominant, top 5 dominant.
Love it.
So yeah.
All right, T-Gots, what do you got?
All right, so call it a bold take, call it a favorite target, whatever you want. I think Jamar Chase finishes as the wide receiver 2. I say 2 because I still think Cooper Kupp just runs all receivers. But yeah, Jamar Chase, I think he has a great opportunity to finish wide receiver 2. Last year, he had 81 receptions as a rookie. Like I could easily see that turning to 100. He had just over 1,400 yards. I mean, that is like hard to beat. That's a lot of yards, but like they can go to 16. I could see that at 16. And his 13 touchdowns, I could see that turning to 16, maybe 18.
Pushing everything
like,
up.
The sky is the limit. The sky is the limit with him. He was a rookie last year. Another year of experience, another year with the team. Like he's just, everything is just set for him to be top 2.
Yeah, definitely be top two for sure.
And Joe Burrow's chemistry is still where it was in college.
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wrap it up here for the Bengals. We already know I was going to have to say something about Joe Mixon again. Said he was going to be top 5 last year. Got dragged for it. I don't even know if it's bold anymore to say he's going to be top 3. I'm drafting him as a top 3 running back this year. I'm all in on Mixon again. It's my ride or die.
The only time ever that saying drafting him over D-Hop worked for you.
Yeah, it did. Worked really well last year, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I've never had to be cautious about talking about a team before. Now that we have a fan of another team on here and we're about to talk about them.
Yeah, we got to be a little bit nice. We got to make sure that we put some respect on the Steelers name this year.
I'm gonna gauge this based on my return visit.
Okay.
So,
Except you were making a lot of lovable comments towards the Cowboys, so now I'm starting to question which team you
Oh,
actually
sorry.
like.
it's hard to be objective out here with being one of the greatest teams in NFL history, but it's
Here we go.
All right. Well, after Big Ben's retirement, the Steelers are now left with a predicament at quarterback. They signed Mitch Trubisky, drafted Kenny Pickett as the only first-round quarterback, and still have veteran Mason Rudolph on the roster, who has some starting experience as well. Who will be the starter, and will they have any fantasy value this season?
Well, I'll take this first, just because from everything that has been reported around here and Pittsburgh, and pretty much that's kind of known how the Pittsburgh Steelers organization operates. They brought in Mitchell Trubisky for a reason, and that was for him to really sort of compete for the start, but to be the starter to help them groom their next quarterback. Now, I'm going to put this out here publicly because I've said it amongst groups. I would have drafted Malik Willis.
Ooh, okay.
So, but that's me. So with that, I'm also okay with the fact that they got Kenny Pickett. I think it's, again, but they have that great model of having former Pitt players coming into Heinz Field and doing well. I'll let James Conner. I think they know what they have there. Mason Rudolph, I think he had his time, and that's fine. But I would say, honestly, a majority of this season, Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the quarterback here. And from what I've read as well, Kenny Pickett is still kind of running with the threes, just to kind of get used to everything and get acclimated to the game. So it's going to take some time for him. I feel Mitch Trubisky, get ready. He's going to be the long run QB here.
Mid-season.
And Myles Garrett kind of ended Mason Rudolph's time.
We didn't have to bring that one up.
Yeah, I think they're going to be right. They're just going to follow the money. They brought Mitch in. They're going to start Mitch. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he's on a short leash and 7 weeks in, they test the waters with Pickett. But the Steelers are known to be good, and Tomlin's not really going to be messing around with quarterbacks. So
no,
I wouldn't be surprised if Mitch finishes.
Yeah, he'll stick to his guns for sure. All right. They also added George Pickens to round out their wide receiver core and replace the loss of James Washington. Is there any chance he pushes Claypool or Deontay for more targets, or do you think he's pretty much fantasy irrelevant for this first season?
Claypool plays like last year, I'd say he's stealing some targets from him.
Yeah, right. But
I agree.
I don't see him really declining Deontay's production a lot. I mean, he's going to be the go-to on that offense. I honestly think the top 2 targets are going to be Freiermuth and Deontay. I think Mitch is going to rely heavily on the tight end, but George Pickens, he'll have his moments, I'm sure, but I might take him as like a late round flyer at best. It's hard to trust a rookie, especially in that offense with a new not franchise quarterback, but a new quarterback under center. And it's just going to be tough.
Yeah. I would agree with that as well. I think I like Pickens. I like his talent, but I think it's going to be maybe a year or 2 away before he starts really carving out a role in this offense. I think you might see these one-off games where, like when we saw Claypool burst onto the scene with 4 touchdowns, you might see like where Pickens is going to have a big game out of the blue, like a long touchdown catch or whatever, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, let's hop on the Pickens train. But I don't think it's going to be as consistent as it was with Claypool. I think it's going to be a little bit more tapered off.
Yeah, from what I understand, they won't ask much of him at this point, other than him kind of sitting into and getting acclimated to the schemes and developing his game himself. More than likely becoming more of kind of like a Heinz Ward type of role where he's doing a lot more blocking as well. So Maybe,
like
yeah.
that.
I think James Watt, like you said, Sean, that one game where that might throw like waiver claims into a frenzy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, he won't take away. I don't think he'll take away from either of those players really. None.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Najee Harris was listed as gaining roughly 15 pounds since last season, even though
Fat boy.
denied these claims himself, saying he was already gaining weight during last season anyways. But is there any concern for drafting him as a top 5 running back this season, or is this just some noise?
No,
Absolutely
no.
not.
And I know Matt's with me. He
I remember,
too much volume. He's too
Yeah.
good. It's just
Yeah, he's way too good. Especially in the receiving game. There was games where he was just catching like 10 balls out of the back.
he was the number 1 target.
It was ridiculous.
Last year, I remember hearing he like was on like an interview saying that he looks forward to being tackled and looks forward to getting hit. So a big body, he's easily coming to truck some defenders.
Maybe that's why.
You cut out, Matt. But maybe that is why.
that
I don't
could
know.
be why. I've heard that. I've heard that.
But yeah, I would agree. I think it's off-season noise for sure. I like Najee Harris a lot this year. I'm drafting him with little to no doubt.
Yeah, same here. The only thing I'd say is that there's maybe some length to Tomlin wanting to kind of manage his play a little bit more. I think that's why you've seen some things in Dynasty like Mateo Durant and like Benny Snell, like names pop in there like for no reason. But he's going to be the offense. In regards to targets, I think it's Freiermuth and him. Really, again, it's I think they're going to play that possession game similar to what Cleveland's going to have to do and try to win with their defense again. So, yeah. But I still am drafting him top 5. I have no concerns. I think he's just too talented. The opportunity is too much. He holds that opportunity too much.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do some cap or no cap for the Steelers.
Yes.
First one here, Deontay Johnson proved he was a wide receiver 1 last year by finishing as wide receiver 8 and should be drafted as a top 12 wide receiver this season. Cap or no cap?
No cap. He did it with Big Ben. He could do it with Mitch.
Or Kenny.
Or Kenny.
I don't know.
He's
I
right on
don't
the cusp
know.
for me for the wide receiver 1 tier. In terms of my rankings, anyways, I don't want to lie and be like, yeah, he's top 12, but like my rankings, I have him at 14. He's right there. Like I easily think he could be top the same, right where he finished last year. I think he's still going to be a volume hog in this offense. I think maybe there's just a little bit more upside on some other guys rather than Deontay Johnson, who's not really pushing the ball down the field as much as somebody maybe like Michael Pittman, who we mentioned earlier, who I also have ahead of him there too. So
please, if you say, I can't believe you, Sean.
What?
Can't believe Pittman for Deontay Johnson.
I have Pittman at
you're
12.
insane.
I'm all in on Pittman.
If that's not biased, I don't know what is.
Right.
I'm all in.
That's tougher for me. Actually, that's a little bit tougher. Now that I have to think about that, I might take Deontay in that choice.
Yeah,
Even though I love Pittman so much, but yeah, like I said, target hog. He's going to be able to hog them all. So I think I have him at 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a safe spot for him also. I may be a little bit sleep. May have to take a second look here, but I do like Deontay Johnson a lot this year. So, All right. Next one, Chase Claypool was correct in saying he is a top 3 wide receiver in the league and should be considered the top wide receiver on the Steelers this year. Cap or no cap?
This question's awful.
This is the biggest cap there has ever been on this show.
Do we really have to talk about it?
I had to bring it up.
Yes, I love it. I love the swagginess of it. I hope he does it. I hope he really goes in there and just balls like crazy for no reason,
I hope so too. I have my dynasty team.
He would have to have that game that he had 2 years ago against the Eagles when he had 4 touchdowns every game.
Well, if he did that every game, that would be absolutely insane. But yeah, I love the confidence, but absolute cap. He is.
I have a bold take that might help with that though.
Okay. All right. I'm ready to hear it. All right. Last cap or no cap before we can get to some of those bold takes. Pat Freiermuth has top 8 potential this season among tight ends after finishing as tight end 13 last season.
No cap.
I would say no cap also. I don't have him ranked top 8 per se, but I do think you could easily beat out some of these guys around that same tier in the lower half of the tight end ones there.
Surely. Yeah.
Also, to go back to the last point, sorry. If Juju said that he was a top 3 receiver in the league, I'd break everything in this apartment right now. But back to Freiermuth, definitely top 8 potential. He wasn't too consistent last year, but he was a red zone beast. He was like guaranteed a touchdown when they got inside the 10. And like outside the top 5 tight ends, it's like a big big mess. So
big cluster.
He's gonna roll the dice, and him and Mike Gesicki, I think, are going to be fighting fight inside the top 10.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
bold takes. What do we got for the Steelers? Matt, we'll let you start off this time.
All right. I like it. Lead off batter. Here we go. So, like Sean said, for the Bengals, he thinks Mixon's going to finish top 3. I believe that Najee Harris is going to finish top 3.
All right.
I think he's still going to be almost just as involved as he was last year in this offense. He's only going to get better the more he plays. Mitch isn't going to be slinging the ball downfield, so I see him getting a lot of like dump offs. So if you're in a PPR league, that's really what you look for in a running back. His volume is going to be absolutely insane, and you combine that with his talent, there's no reason why he couldn't finish within that top 3 running backs.
I like that one a lot. I think that's definitely possible for sure.
Just got to tell Mitch to chill. Don't run too much.
Yeah,
he'll definitely use those legs though. So you guys, what do you got for us?
I'm sorry, Jeff. Like I know you're gonna hate this. You're gonna shoot it down. You're gonna come back at me. But it's okay. I think that Chase Claypool finishes outside of the top 40. Last year he finished wide receiver 37 last year. He had 105 targets and only caught 59 of them. Like, I understand Big Ben isn't the greatest, but I do think that Big Ben is better than any of these quarterbacks he's going to have this year. I will say that. So I don't see like how he could upgrade, except for the Juju thing. I do get it, like more opportunities, but I think that like Freiermuth benefits more off that than Claypool would. 10 out of his 15 games last year, he had 4 or fewer receptions. Like, he only had 2 touchdowns. Like, I think he's more of a fill-in flex than like going out and like really having faith in getting him as like your steady flex or like a low-end wide receiver too. Like, I think he's more of a fill-in guy this year. I'm sorry, but none of the numbers are adding up to make me attracted to him.
I hate it here.
I understand.
No, I understand that, actually. I completely hear that. He's non-existent as an option. I mean, so it's not oblivious to say, to me, to think that he's just going to fall further out because you have a lesser quarterback. And in regards to the position, yeah, I think that's what it is. I just this offense is going to have to change a little bit. And there's going to have to be some passing. There's going to have to be some running from Mitch Trubisky, really. So they're going to have to change things up a little bit to try to accommodate and get Claypool the ball and where he can actually get it in the end zone. But considering, I can see where there's going to be just fluctuation with quarterback play.
Yeah.
That's not too outrageous, T-Gods, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Jeff, what do you got for us for your bold take?
I don't know. I'm still trying to swallow this tough pill over here. But so this is what, and I have no basis for this really, other than, Mr. Trubisky wasn't utilized well enough on the Chicago Bears. And we know why. In 2018, he had his greatest season with 24 touchdowns. He had 17 and 16 in following seasons after that until he went to Buffalo. All right. This leads me to, as I mentioned, the offense has to change a little bit, be a little bit more balanced. Najee has to take a little bit off of his volume. Mitchell Trubisky will have 30 total touchdowns.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
25 passing, 5 running.
All right. I like that.
So if I have to go bold for this team and to be bold for this team to actually do something in this division to win and keep up with the Bengals and the Ravens, they're gonna have to score. And I went to solid too many games last year, but that was their biggest issue, is that they just couldn't put up enough points to do that. If they want to win, if Tomlin wants to be successful this season, they got to score in that capacity. And Mitchell Trubisky has to be what he was, 4 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
4 years ago, I think.
yeah. So I'm just that's what my hopes are on as a fan. But if it has to be bold, yeah, I mean that's outrageous.
bold.
So I had to throw that out there.
Spicy. I like it though.
Plus, if he wants to be a top 3 receiver, Chase Claypool, if we really want Najee and Pat Freiermuth to be those targets at the top 3 finish for a tight end, or top 8, I mean, and top 3 for a running back. Yeah, there's going to have to be some balance with Mitchell Trubisky slinging it a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Q.
Kind of got into it, just a favorite target. I'm targeting Pat Freiermuth, a guy who's being drafted as tight end 11, which I think is a beautiful spot for him, for someone who I think is going to finish top 10, more specifically finish over Dalton Schultz.
Oh
No,
my God,
no.
stop.
I love that.
No.
He has a rookie quarterback, whether it's him or Mitch. Tight end's his best friend, and Pat Freiermuth is going to be a red zone beast. I think there's a lot more opportunity for him than, once again, Dalton Schultz specifically. So Pat Freiermuth, great value right now, and definitely top 8, top 10 potential finish.
Okay. All right. Q is on the anti-Dalton Schultz train here. I respect it, I guess.
Let me get a ticket on there too. Not anti. I'd rather have Dallas Goedert or Gesicki or Freiermuth, really.
Okay. All right. I'm a big Dalton
Fair.
Schultz guy. I'm a believer this year. So, all right, I'll wrap it up here for the Steelers. I do hear where Jeff's coming from with Mitch Trubisky, but as someone that was a Mitch Trubisky believer for a couple years in Chicago, thinking that maybe it was actually going to come through, I thought he was going to be pretty good. I'm going to say Kenny Pickett takes over that number 1 quarterback spot. I don't know if he earns it by the start of the season, but I do think he does take it over at some point this season. And when he does, from whenever that point is, whether it's week 2 or week 10, he will be a top 15 quarterback on a points per game basis in fantasy.
Oh,
Need that
Juicy.
into my veins.
I love that, Sean.
I love me some Kenny Pickett. I loved him in college, watching him at Pitt. I know me and Q were actually watching one of the championship game at his
Fake
apartment.
slide.
The fake slide was
Yeah.
elite and pretty much invented a move. But in general, I do think Kenny Pickett is going to be very solid. I think he's probably just going through some rookie jitters throughout the offseason. But if I know anything, it's not to believe in the offseason reports. We heard a lot of offseason reports last year about Jamar Chase that tanked his draft stock. So
Yes, we did.
I like Kenny Pickett this year. I'm believing in the talent that I
His
saw.
baby hands can't hold the Whopper Jr. He'll be good.
I think he will be just fine. All right. That's a wrap for the Steelers and the Bengals. Q, trivia time.
Yeah.
You got anything for us? And if anyone has any questions to drop while we're doing some trivia, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will answer them if you have any. If not, we'll wrap it up with some trivia here. Q, start us off. What do you got?
Jeff, are you ready? You got a piece of paper and a pencil or some sort of...
I have paper right here somewhere.
These questions are all AFC North related. This first question is trying to pick Jeff's brain, see how well he knows the Steelers. But everyone knows,
Love it.
Everyone has heard. Yeah, you'll see.
Okay, sounds good. Q's questions. I'm ready.
Get the timer. Okay. If everyone ready, I will begin. Okay. So the Steelers have not had a top 10 tight end since 2012. Who was that top 10 tight end in 2012? He was fantasy relevant. I don't know if he was fantasy relevant after that year, but 2012 was the last time the Steelers had a top 10 tight end until Pat Freiermuth this year.
I know it.
I think I do.
I know.
I'm pretty sure I do,
I don't know if I know it.
but I do disappoint myself quite often.
I feel like you're overthinking it.
You guys, you've been pretty hot lately with the trivia. Last pod, I think you did pretty well.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna write it. But
Write it.
Write it out.
you know,
Write what your heart tells you, Sean.
Right? Antoine Randall L.
Y'all got answers?
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
It was Heath Miller.
I did write it.
Uh-huh.
I wrote it. Got
Easy.
that one.
Not Eric Ebron.
Millie.
Not Eric Ebron.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if a Heath Miller was like a little bit earlier than 2012, but I was like, that's the first name that comes to my head when I think of Steelers tight end. So
All right. 1 second. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So last year, there were 15 wide receivers / tight ends who averaged at least 25 yards per touchdown. 6 of them were in the AFC North. Can you name the 6? I don't know if we're doing points today because Jeff's here, but we can still do the point per name. There are 6 players in the AFC North who averaged at least 25 yards every time they scored a touchdown.
Wow.
I'll give you a good 3 minutes.
25 yards per touchdown. So like only when they score touchdowns, I guess, right?
When they scored a touchdown, it was averaging
on
at least-
average of 25 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
So
That is insane.
6
weird.
players in this
That's
division.
weird.
That's such a weird stat. I never even like thought to think of that stat.
It's like every position.
running back or not running backs, wide receivers and tight ends.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Uh,
that's the group to choose from.
Okay.
And I can give you a hint. One of these players are no longer in the division.
Okay. Interesting.
Shit. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4.
I think I got it.
Okay.
I think I'm okay with this.
I'm still working here.
You got a minute 55.
All right. Only one of them's not in the division anymore.
Correct. Actually, sorry, two. Two are not in the division.
Oh, wow.
And that's like recent news, I guess. Well, recent news as in this offseason.
Okay. Got it.
For both?
Yes. Because the stats from last year. Let's see if the chat's responding.
All right, I got my 6.
Good job, Schultz. Who the fuck's Kobe Clark? Trap said that.
All right. I have my 6. I'm
Mine.
not 100% confident, but I'm feeling pretty good.
T-Gods, Matt, Jeff, you all have answers?
Got 'em.
You guys still thinking?
I have 5 and I'm fine with it. Go ahead.
Matt, you done?
Yep.
All right, so I'll go in order of the most to the least. Number 1, well, not number 1 on the list, but the first one, Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Second was Hollywood Brown.
Got it.
Mhm.
Third was Tyler Boyd.
Didn't get that.
Ew.
Wow, 25 yards for touchdown for Tyler.
Dang.
Boyd.
Well, these next two are even nastier. CJ Uzama and
Oh.
David Njoku.
All right, I
Barf.
got that one.
I got 1.
I got the first 2.
Wait,
Yeah.
That was
Oh my
crazy.
So David Njoku, Hollywood, and Jamar were all in there, right?
Yes.
I
I
got
got
those 3.
2.
The other 3 I
Oh.
said were Claypool, Juju, and T. Higgins.
Yeah, I had Juju in there too.
Jamal
Same.
He is one of the
Agnew.
ones.
Jamal Agnew led that list with 71.5 yards.
Per touchdown.
He has 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Jamal
he was-
Agnew, T-Gods liked him for a little bit.
I
He was
did.
good. He was good.
It was good.
Wow.
All right. There is one more question, and it's not a typical one. It's a 2 truths and a lie based off the AFC North. Here we go.
Love it.
All right.
All right. So the 2 truths and a lie. Just the 3 statements out there. First one, Big Ben has never finished higher than top 5 more than once in his career. Joe Burrow last year had more rushing touchdowns than Kyle Pitts had receiving touchdowns. And the AFC West has had a defense finish top 10 since 2012. So I can repeat them if you need to, but those are the 3.
Yeah, if you could repeat those real quick, Q.
Sure. So Ben Roethlisberger has never finished higher than top 5 more than once in his career. Joe Burrow had more rushing touchdowns than Kyle Pitts had receiving touchdowns last year. And the AFC West. AFC North has had a defense finish top 10 since 2012. Could be farther back, but that's as far back as Fantasy Pros allowed me to go.
So that one has to be true.
It has to be
I'm
the
right
true
on that
one.
one. True, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
All right, number
do
3.
the math.
Damn it.
That's hilarious.
I break the game in the system. Man, this Burrow thing.
Yeah, that's fucking
That's
meta.
interesting.
I have my answer.
I'm sticking with number 3. Q likes to spoil.
Wait, number 3.
Got
What do you
it.
mean?
Well, 2 truths and a lie. Which one's the lie?
We're going for the lie.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was the
whoa,
lie.
whoa, whoa.
2 of them are true. So we
I
know the
was
last
zoned
one's
out.
true. So we made it 50-50.
I was trying to look. Apparently, Trap donated, but I couldn't lock
I
in.
think he
Trap.
subbed. I think he resubbed.
Could be both.
Could be both. Either way, appreciate you, Trap.
He said put that $5 on black.
I got my lie.
I got it.
Got mine.
All good.
Yeah,
Wait for
yeah,
two
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
All right, cool.
All right. So should I just give you the lie? Or should I give you the 2 truths first?
Give us one truth first.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Burrow had more rushing touchdowns than Kyle Pitts
God dang it.
had receiving touchdown.
That was
The lie-
true.
The lie was that Big Ben has had more than 2 seasons as a top 5 quarterback, like 2 finishing like top 3. Actually, 2018, he was number 3.
Yeah, he was a
What?
lead a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. He threw like 50 or something touchdowns. He threw like a crazy amount of touchdowns that.
AB.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had the Big Ben one as the lie as well.
Me
Yeah.
too.
go.
Me too.
That is all from me.
All right, love it.
Dude, that was great.
Got some. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 questions in here. Schultz
I-
said,
I had
Go
2 on
ahead, Q.
Instagram as well after those.
All right, I'll just do the one from Schultz real quick. He said, "What is the first Super Bowl you guys remember?" And don't say Eagles 2004 because obviously
Those
with our
Eagles,
bias,
2004.
that's the first one I
That
remember.
really is the first one I remember. I was a child.
Well, yeah, but there's also like
The
Super
one
Bowl
that-
parties that year. Like,
The one that I remember was Broncos Seahawks, and we watched it at Alyssa's house.
it's like
that was
like
way
10 years
after
ago.
that. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like after that. I don't. Or when was
Steelers Cardinals was
Yeah.
definitely one I remember for sure.
When was the Steelers one where James Harrison had that?
Yeah, that was that one.
That was Steelers Cardinals. Yeah.
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 That was that's one of my most memorable ones, like as a fan for sure. I think as growing up, Super Bowl 30 against the Cowboys when we got demolished and Neil O'Donnell was just throwing interceptions like they were beads at Mardi Gras, like for everybody.
Yeah.
I remember just sitting in a corner at my aunt's house. She had a huge Super Bowl party and just sat there and ate nachos and angrily stared at the TV. Yeah, that one
one.
sticks out to me. It was the first
I never
Super Bowl
thought
that like
someone
sticks out in my
angry
mind.
while eating nachos.
It's how I know. Neil O'Donnell did it to me. But yeah,
That's a
good
tough
question.
one.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I think the first one that like I vividly like remember like actively watching would be that Steelers like Cardinals one.
Yeah.
I can't even think of anything right before that, like off the top of my head, aside from the Eagles one, obviously, which meant a lot.
That was a
Of
shame.
course.
We were
Cute.
7 years old though.
Yeah, it
Seven.
didn't mean that much at all, honestly.
Yeah,
It kind of meant
I was
nothing.
I didn't really hear about it. You guys winning that much. I mean, was there some sort of play that was memorable during this thing? I don't know.
I just remember McNabb throwing to the worms and my family
Oh
all
my
being
God,
mad.
bro.
Didn't
Saints-
McNabb throw up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was memorable.
Yeah.
T.O.
Schultz
on a
said the
broken
Saints
leg.
Colts, and I think I do remember that one also.
Yeah,
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good
Katrina
one.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Q, what other questions did you have? Because I'm not seeing much else out here.
Just 2 on Instagram from Young Chilo. I mean, will Pickett be this QB1 for the Steelers? That's pretty. We kind of answered that. Probably not week 1, but
I think there's a
possibly
chance
down the
he takes
line.
over down the line for sure.
Mhm.
and the other question: does Jesse Bates play this year for the Bengals, or do you think he gets traded? Jesse Bates is supposed to go to the Eagles. I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, I thought he did move on for somewhere for some reason, but maybe not. I guess not. So
Not too
Huh.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at this point, I think he would probably be staying
Yeah,
this far into the offseason. I don't know if they're really trying to push him out the door. I think they'd rather
Yeah.
retain him.
like if you
um,
search Jesse Bates on Twitter, on Google, the next suggestion is Eagles. So
yeah.
hasn't
Interesting.
happened,
Definitely interesting.
though. That's
Yeah.
all I got.
We shall
Cool.
see for Jesse Bates. I think that's a wrap for the questions. So that's a wrap for the show. That is the AFC North as a whole already. Jeff, thank you again
Thank
for
you.
hopping on with us today.
Truly a
If
pleasure.
you want to let everyone know where they can find you, go ahead and do so.
Sure. Twitter, geek_mill. You can find the Fantasy Futurist podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, but specifically Spotify, Apple, Anchor is where we're housed right now. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to join the Futurist Foundation, the Discord is on our Twitter profiles. You can find mine or the podcast. It's open invite. Come on in. Sean's in there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely
Talking about
join
his
up in
love.
there. He has a
we have
lot of good info.
Jesse
in there.
Bates watch going on right now. I mean, it's live in there. So yeah, just excited to be on with you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
And,
So are you.
Like the future of this community for sure. Like I see that for you guys, and I'm really excited to be a part of your journey. And yeah, we'll be connecting here more. So maybe in some leagues. I need to
Yeah.
be gods.
Yeah, we definitely need to get a league going. We
Yeah.
are considering starting one for the podcast itself. So
Perfect.
may get one going this year. Add to your 66th league, I guess it would be.
Got to end it at 69.
Yeah. Yes, you'll be my yes. That'll be perfect.
That might be the cap for this year.
I will after 68. I will accept no more.
Sounds good. We will be back next week with the NFC North on Monday and Thursday. So stay tuned for that. We will definitely have Jeff on again soon. And hopefully we may make a stop again on the Fantasy Futures podcast as well.
Truly.
But if you're still here on Twitch, make sure to throw us a follow, turn on notifications so you don't miss us when we're live. Throw us a sub on YouTube as well. Spotify, Apple Music, Anchor, same thing for us. And of course, social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you just look up Super Fantasy Bros. We typically pop up. So you should be able to find us. We will see you guys on Monday. Thanks again, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Jeff.